kind of
Yeah. Did you see the Celtic one as well? The Celtic penalty the other night.
What did they give that? A handball?
A handball. So he jumped in the air, and as his arm goes up, I think he knocks
Yeah.
the other player a little bit in his hands. His
When I
hand
saw
touches
it
it, but
first, I was
it,
like, did they give an elbow for that? Because that's harsh. And then I guess the handball, it I didn't watch it a ton of times. I saw it like once or twice, but I was
there's loads of clips on the internet at the moment saying it couldn't have been handball because if it hits his hand, the ball just drops. So there's loads of clips now of people throwing balls up and hitting it.
I saw a bunch of people doing the clips, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, just before we talk Liverpool, I thought what was an interesting one this week. Did you see about Dembele got the French Player of the Year? He had played, I think he played 9 games throughout the full season. He completed 90 minutes once. But what did you make of that?
Yeah, that was a funny one. I don't know because I don't pay attention to the awards very often. Um Player of the year and stuff. That seemed a bit, I don't know, on the nose. They like you guys mentioned that it might just be for his Ballon d'Or case, which
Mm.
that helps. A lot of those leagues do that, and the French league cater to PSG's like needs quite a bit because they need PSG to be good, like in Europe. So they do that week off stuff. It's like, oh, you got a Champions League tie, well, move your game, that kind of stuff. So maybe that's what it is. Um, but yeah, probably a bit harsh on some of the other players in the league. It's
Yeah,
tough with PSG because none of those players play a ton in the
no.
league. They
He
rotate
he
so
um,
much. It's like
he
two
he
separate teams they field throughout the year.
he saves them, doesn't he, for the Champions League games? Even the Georgian player, I can never
Yeah.
pronounce his name. He saves him. He hasn't played many games, neither of them. He's been on record saying that he's at his best in the Champions League. So
Mhm.
it's almost like he's got one team for the league, and he'll bring them on it if he needs them, and
Yeah.
then one team for the Champions League, which again you'd think you'd need to be playing every week to get up to speed, but clearly not.
Yeah, they seem completely fine playing week in and week out. It definitely helps their press. I mean, we spoke last year about how almost flawless the press was,
Mm.
and it's tough for teams who are playing, 60 games to be pressing so aggressively that's late in the season, but you get the extra games and stuff, and that's a product of the rest of the league not being particularly good, that they don't have to go out there like for 18 weeks of the 38-week season. They don't have to go out there and be useful. So, definitely a unique situation they've got over
Yeah.
there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, let's turn our attention to Liverpool. Let's have a little bit of Liverpool chat. Um, Talking about Slot again. Slot's been in the news saying, yeah, he's going to be part of the transfers this summer, so he's expecting to stay around. I seen a stat the other day where it said, I think 2026, Slot has won 30% of his Premier League games, which is obviously really low for Liverpool. Would you? I don't know whether it's Hughes with the signings or whether it's Slot with the signings or a combination. I always got the impression last season it was mainly Hughes, and I think because they haven't quite worked out any of those signings really, have they? I think this season Slot. I think Slot's probably got a bit more power and a bit more say in it. Would you give Hughes and Slot the kitty to go again one more time after they spent that much money?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I guess I don't have a problem with the club the way they do transfers. I think we've been pretty unlucky with a lot of the stuff we've had. Like Ishak's been hurt all year, and Bradley's been hurt all year, and that's probably forced Frimpong into a role that he's probably not a week in and week out kind of guy for. And when we bought Frimpong, for the fee it was, my expectation was that he would be backup on both sides on the right, and he's been forced to kind of play week in and week out on that
And he
side.
and he's not being fit neither, as he struggled
No,
getting fit, but he's had to play, and I think he's had to play, and he's obviously not played that well because I don't think he's quite up to speed, and I think that's the probably problem with him a little bit. So it's probably been a bit unfair on him, hasn't it? I think.
yeah, it's been very stop start for him just in general because he'll play for a couple weeks and then he'll do a muscle and miss a couple weeks, and the injury stuff is new because he's never had the injury problems like this before. It's just kind of popped up. So I think we've been unlucky with a couple of the signings so far, more than that they're just not good, I think is where I'm at. I think a lot of them have just been unlucky instead of not good. That being said, if they're going to stick around, I don't have a problem with them doing the signings myself. I know Slot said he's got more input and stuff. Klopp never really had a ton of input, and my guess is that he has input, but not like genuine input. Like the club tend to do the transfers the way they do the transfers, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
think one kind of unlucky season is going to turn their thoughts around on that. Again, he may have input like, we may need fullback, we need this type of profile. I'd be pretty surprised if he was like aggressively a part of that. Like
Yeah.
that's not even a go at Slot. That's just not how Liverpool do things. Like Liverpool gave Klopp like a signing or two, and they were like, yeah, never again after like Nunez and stuff.
Nunes.
Yeah, yeah. So the club are like, we're probably not going to let
Yeah.
that go too often. So yeah, I don't have a problem necessarily. We do need there are spots we need, and the problem with the way the biggest problem, I don't even consider it necessarily a problem, but the biggest problem is that they kind of do things, and like if we need a player or we need a profile or we need a position, they're not going to force one in there. Like if
Mm,
we need a defensive midfielder, we've needed one for a year or two. That one they like has just not been available, so we kind of just end up going without it.
mm,
That's the only real genuine problem I have, and it's not really a problem because I don't particularly like paying 40 million pounds for stopgaps, I guess. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't mind the transfer strategy as much.
Yeah, I think it's a huge summer for Isaac with the World Cup, and I think he needs to get himself fit now because I think
Needs
people
games.
yeah people forget before the injury where he played 16 games trying to get fit and he still wasn't up to speed then. So
Mhm.
I think he needs to get himself right this summer and come back to Liverpool and start firing. Etakike as well. I think very strange signing for me for all his talent, what he's got. I think when you're paying £80 million for a player, you're expecting to play 2 games a week, and he can't play 2 games a week for all his talent. He's not been able to play it, and then he's had a bad injury as well. So I think it's a big summer for some players, and yeah, to come back next season, I think some of them have got a point to prove as well. Definitely.
Yeah.
Um, Contracts. Talking about contracts, we seem to talk about Slot all season and contracts all season. So one who's been in the papers a little bit of late is Joe Gomez. He's got 12 months to run his contract. He said there's been no talks whatsoever. Do you see that just 12 months him just fizzling out and then going on a free? I can't see him sign the contract, can you?
No, not unless it's Liverpool friendly because of just where he is in the pecking order. I think he'd like to stay just because he likes it here. I really do think that. But I don't know if Liverpool would like to give him like he's hurt all the time, and again, he's like fourth choice center back, third choice right back, and it's great. He's a great squad player to have for sure.
Mm,
But I think it's tough from like a business standpoint to be like, yeah, we'll give you a decent raise and a new contract and stuff in those scenarios. I think it'd be better for his career if he went and played somewhere because he's a good player. I don't think he's like a bad player or anything, and he's been great, but also maybe it's just time to split, you know.
yeah, and he's only young. I think he's still only quite young, isn't he? I think he's 28 or
Yeah,
29.
he's not old.
I
He
don't
can
know,
have a career somewhere where he plays week in and
three,
week out.
3 or 4 years, mid-table team, going to a job for them. So yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see what pans out with that. I think it'll just run its course and then he'll leave. But again, he's obviously been a good servant.
Yeah,
And
he's been
then
great. I mean, we paid 3 million for him, right?
yeah, great
So
business, isn't it? Great. And for a season or two alongside Van Dijk, he was fantastic. Really quick,
fantastic. Yeah.
strong, and then I think he had 1 or 2 injuries and sort of went off the boil a little bit and never came back. So yeah, Elliot is another player back in the news for us. Slot obviously just says ask Emery or ask Aston Villa. Can you see him coming back to Liverpool and being a squad player again, or even trying to force himself into the first team? Would you think Slot will just try and sell him?
I'm not sure. I do know that this has probably changed the way Liverpool do transfer business. Cause I imagine that it's not we're not doing the 10 game thing anymore because that was originally just supposed to be a formality, and then the Villa were like, yeah, we're not doing that. It's like, okay. So I imagine that's changed. We'll see with Elliot. I kind of like Elliot. I'm not sure he fits. My biggest issue with Elliot is that he can't play in a three, and that's probably his best spot. So that becomes a bit of an issue, but again, I don't mind having him around. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
bother me none, and he's a bit creative when you can bring him off the bench and we need a goal, and I
Yeah,
don't mind him in those kind of scenarios. But he's also 20 something, and he probably should be playing week in and
yeah.
week out somewhere.
I think he's a clever little player. I mean, I like him. I think he sees a pass, he gets on the ball. But you are right. Sometimes rather than playing him as that three, he plays him wide right, didn't he, or whatever it might be. But he's for me, I still think he's a good player. The same with Quanta and Morton and Doak and some of them other young players. What we had to we seem to ship them
Mhm.
all out. I thought again probably a bit like Alex Ferguson when he had Fletcher and Phil Neville and those sort of players. I thought those players could have come in and done the job against the mid-table teams, the lesser teams, and give some players a rest because some of our players have played all season, haven't they? And I think that's the problem with Slot, probably, and the problem with the Liverpool side. He's got no trust in players outside maybe 13 or 14 players. He doesn't really trust them. And I think for them players, when they're in and around the dressing room, in and around the training pitch, it must have a bit of a negative impact, mustn't it? It must have a bit of doom and gloom because I don't think he
Mm.
trusts a lot of those players, even Gomez, who we mentioned, and Chiesa, and whether they're both fit enough or not. But you could see he doesn't trust them, does he?
No, yeah, and we definitely have guys that like Van Dyke is going to play like someone said if he played like all the way up to the World Cup final, he'd be playing like 7,000 minutes or something like that. Like this year, like it's yeah, it'd be close to 78 games worth, which would be like so probably 6,500 minutes if he got to the end of the World Cup final. So like there's a lot of minutes on some of those guys, and yeah, there's a bit of a trust thing, and that's a slot thing, and I don't think it's like a bad like I don't want to like as call him like a bad guy for it because he just likes getting the players in that he likes. He did this at Feyenoord, very like
Mm-hmm.
he went in, they had their year, and then he kind of really, really changed that squad around. That was like a
Yeah.
completely different squad 2 years later. So it's very much he likes to get the players that he likes in and players he can trust and stuff. And then I think it's more. It reminds me a lot of Mourinho when he didn't like a guy, you know, and Mourinho would be like. Mourinho is funny because Mourinho needs a fullback and he's got a fullback on the bench and he'll play a midfielder at right back. You know what I mean? It's like we really need a fullback. Look, I'm playing guys out of position to kind of get them there. Like it reminds me a little bit of that, and it is a bit. It's certainly harsh on a human level.
Klopp
But
was a lot softer, wasn't he? Klopp was more,
yeah,
while you're here, you can still be part of the squad and you might get
Mhm.
minutes, you might not get minutes. Slot's
Yeah, he
probably
was.
one of them who'll sit you down and say, you're not going
I
to
just
play.
don't see it. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
don't see it playing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Klopp was very humane to like a point,
Yeah.
probably to a little, probably a bit overboard. But there's also probably like there's also probably good spots for that. Like when we played, when we play a backup goalkeeper in the final. Like both teams for this year played backup goalkeepers in the final. I think
Mm,
that's like a good human element that
yeah.
they
Yeah.
bring in.
And another interesting name I seen linked to us this week was Bowen for West Ham. Obviously, he's 29, not normally the profile what Liverpool tend to go for in terms of age. Little older, but if he was the right price, would you think he would come in for a couple of years? Would that be an option? Would that be someone you'd go for?
I'm not sure with the age it's someone they're go for now. That's definitely been someone they've been looking at for a long time though. every year that's popped up for 3, 4 years, and I think they really like Bowen. But Bowen is like a West Ham guy, and Bowen always wanted to kind of make it work there. And now he can't, and now he's probably just going to be forced to make that move somewhere. So I don't mind Bowen at all as an option. Um, I'm not sure if I want him being playing 60 games on the right. I'm not sure he's got the legs and talent for that anymore, but as an option, yeah, I think he's quite good. But
Yeah. I'd like
again,
him. I'd like him for a couple of seasons until you can really nail someone down that you really, really want. Because we seem to be linked with 4, 5, 6, 7 names, and no one seems to think, we definitely want him. You might say at least Bayern Munich, but are they going to pay 120 million for him after the experience what they've had with probably Isaac and Waits? It's
you'd Bayern to let him go too.
and Will Bayern let him go. That's the other thing, isn't it? So I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him for a few seasons. We've had those type of players in the past who have done all right. So yeah, I think he'd be good. So the
Yeah, I don't
match,
mind Bowen.
yeah. So the match of the weekend, we're playing Friday night. Aston Villa, isn't it? I think at Villa Park. So massive game in terms of the top five, top six, even it might be. Well, what are your thoughts on the game?
This is a weird one because I think, again, I for Liverpool, ever since they've kind of been put in that spot um, where they've been pretty much secured, like the top end, they've been kind of off it a bit, even more. Um, but a win here would end it. Again, Villa are more interested in their cup final, and they got their cup final midweek. But also, they're only 4 points ahead of Bournemouth. So I'm not particularly sure how they're going to take this game. They may come in and be like, we can get this done sorted now. Or they
Mm,
may, my thought would be, they may rest here and take the next two games as seriously as they need to. Like, we have two chances at securing a Champions League spot, and they come midweek and they come at the end. Like, I know they're playing City, but also Bournemouth are playing City, so they only need a point somewhere. Most likely, Bournemouth play City again. They play City midweek or Tuesday, and then they play Forest away. So they may just need a point somewhere. They may not
mm,
need any points, but my thought is that they go into this Liverpool game with players, with starters, and then they kind of just rotate out pretty early in the second half if they need to. As for
mm.
us, it looks like we're going to be missing a guy or two. Verts is on edge to play that one, and some other stuff there. So I don't know. This feels like a
Draw, doesn't it?
huh?
This feels like both teams are going to say we'll take a point,
Yeah,
doesn't
we'll
it?
take a point. Yeah, that's exactly it. This felt like a let's get in and not get hurt and get out,
Yeah,
and
and
then go
both teams are on 60 points. Then it
makes
pushes the
Bournemouth
teams
have to
below.
win both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, a little bit further away.
and
Um,
we're much better with a draw off too because we have our last game at home, and that right, and yeah, Brentford, and then 2 points would seal it. And then Bournemouth are not going to catch on goal difference. So
yeah. What's interesting is Brighton has 6 points off Aston Villa, but their goal difference is six better. So
yeah,
Brighton technically won their next two games, and Villa lost their next two games. Even Brighton would finish above Villa.
yeah. So yeah, that I really think they're focused on the tournament. I
Yeah,
mean, the European Cup final. I think they're really interested in that. But I guess we'll see. Again, it's a really weird game on a
yeah.
Friday. you know,
And I
kind of
think
just hoping
Emery,
to get to the end of the year.
yeah, Emery with his European pedigree, he'll want that trophy as opposed to a fourth place finish only.
Yeah, he trade that.
He'd
Yeah,
trade
he would
that. Yeah,
trade that in a
he's definitely going to
heartbeat.
rest that.
Yeah.
A win or draw for Liverpool, I think, definitely
Yeah.
curtain that.
Yeah, I feel that way too. It feels like a 1-1 and
Yeah, I thought
a
1-1.
very slow 1-1.
I thought 1-1. Yeah. Brilliant. But that's all we had to chat about Liverpool. I think with Ian and Paul due on, and then not jumping on last minute. So we tried to rustle up a little bit of conversation. So it worked pretty well. Thank you, Kurt. But anything you want to talk about football wise, mate?
No. Looking forward to the cup final at the weekend.
Which
Why
one?
aren't they at the end of the year anymore?
I don't know. It's mad, isn't it? And the other big match, sorry, on that is the two cities colliding in Scotland, isn't it? Glasgow versus
Yeah,
Edinburgh for the
yeah,
title. That's a
yeah.
pretty big one. I can't remember that being as big as that really. So that'll be quite good, I think.
Did you see did you see the Saudi Arabian one? That own goal
Was
that
that the one
cost
with the keeper?
Ronaldo the title? Yeah.
The keeper, the keeper
It was
too.
just a 40-yard throw in and he just dropped it. 10 seconds from the title and he bloody
I tell you
dropped it.
what wasn't too dissimilar though. It went through his hands the same way as it went through Ray's hands. Only Ray had a little bit of a touch,
Yeah.
didn't he? It was very
Yeah.
similar, I thought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I it was funny because it happened to Ronaldo. It was
Yeah,
funny in general.
yeah. Apparently,
Just
the fans were rioting and stuff as well in the crowd, weren't they? The fans were throwing
yeah.
stuff at the directs and things. They weren't happy.
And he's one of the guys that they don't partake. He's made quite a few mistakes over there in his last 2 years, just in general. So for it to
Yeah,
pop up here, it felt a lot. It didn't feel like Karius but remember when Karius was playing so well leading up to the final, but there's always that bit in the back of the head where you're like,
yeah,
the mistakes are coming, right? They got to be
yeah.
coming. They feel like they're coming, and it just pops up at the wrong time.
Yeah,
They,
I always felt with carriers, anytime I watched them, his hands weren't strong enough. The shots always used to hit his hands and go in. He didn't really have strong
yeah,
wrists to punch it or, save it or push it wide. He always seemed to get his hands to it, but the ball would just push his hands back and go
yeah,
in.
it
I
did
thought,
feel a bit
whereas
that way.
Allison and the other top keepers, they get their hands to it. It's not going in, is it?
Yeah, they felt that way. And Karius has come back. He's had a nice little resurgence. He's with that Schalke team that just got promoted, and he was their they've been theirs. But it's nice that he got his back because he was a genuine person.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
really unfortunate timing and stuff like that. But
yeah. Nice
yeah,
story for him. Absolutely,
yeah.
mate. Well, listen, we will follow your bets closely this weekend, Kurt, as always. Fingers crossed, see if we can get to 11, like Barcelona, like we mentioned. And I'll see you next week, mate.
Of course, have a good one.
All the best. Cheers, Kurt.